Good evening, Mike the MC, bringing another self-care video. Today I'm going to wrap up the day with basically a summary of how the videos really were a good thing for everybody, I hope, but also connecting them with other themes as well, which is a humble teacher, and how basically if you are a teacher that wants to succeed but you don't want to get trapped in your own ego, how to remain humble to help your students, not only for you yourself but also for your kids, your students, your players, whoever you're teaching. So that way, from the context of the other videos today, you can recognize as a student even what is a good humble teacher to follow and who's the bad teacher, because some teachers can become corrupt over time. So this is really for everyone to listen to. And so that way, hey, if you recognize that you're being taught by a corrupt teacher, it may be good to put a boundary with that person, so that way you protect yourself and your family and kids, and so that way you don't get caught as a student in another thing that they may have you trying to do for their own self-gain. So this will be a great topic to discuss. So let's get this started. So connecting from the other videos today, I thought it was a good idea to really kind of unite the two. So I brought up the ideas of God making a covenant with his people, and then also brought up narcissism again today with bad people, toxic people who want to misuse you, abuse you, be snobbish to you, so that way they have their own self-gain as they climb a corporate ladder of some kind. So that way, after they smear you in a campaign, they can rise. And so kind of connecting those two themes together, I thought, hey, wait a minute, what about a corrupt teacher? What about a teacher that loses their path of being humble, and all of a sudden they want to make themselves look great, and so that way they'll find ways to push their class to do extravagant things, but not for the class's benefit, but for the teacher's benefit. And you think, okay, how am I in these other classes at school, in church, on my sports teams? Where do I stand as a player, a student, my family, with the other families, coaches, players, etc., teams? And you look back and you think, okay, maybe I was, when I grew up in a toxic household, okay, maybe I was misused to help my parents in a bad way. And you think about that and you think, okay, as a counselor, like, I want to help kids all the time. You want to get them out of those situations so that way they grow and develop. And it's hard because you see people that have become adults that they really have lived with the tendencies from their parents, so that way they've become anxious over time. They are trying to undo what was done to them at a young age. And so it's kind of sad to see. It really is. And so you want to help your clients become resilient. And that way, as extending it to other people, your students and people in your church and sports teams, you want your students to be resilient. So that way, if they are having trouble also from their families, you as a coach or a priest, religious leader can help the people as best as they can from a teacher-student perspective. But consider this, from the student perspective, how do you know when the teacher is trying to abuse you for their self-gain as well? Because you got to keep in mind, when I bringing up the narcissistic video today, earlier, how there can be a smear campaign. So if a teacher's starting to come after you all of a sudden, and you thought, oh, I thought we had a good dynamic here, I thought we were working good together, but all of a sudden they call you out and you recognize, oh, that's not to build me up, that's really to just call me out and make fun of me. And I was like, ooh, right, you don't want to be that player that's just called out by the coach just to become the scapegoat, right? And then you will probably see on other teams a coach who doesn't know how to treat their player in the right way, and then all of a sudden everyone mistreats that other player, and all of a sudden the abuse comes into play, the smearing campaign, all of that negative stuff comes into action because the coach led the way for that environment to thrive of a toxic workspace, right? And that could be also with your boss and other places as well, where smearing campaigns, okay, that's all on the table because the boss wants to see who is strong and who will survive. And as harsh as that sounds, that's going to happen in a lot of environments that we walk into. And so if you're a coach, keep this in mind. Try to be building your environment in a constructive way, so that way your team does not destroy itself. Because if it does self-destroy, I mean, yes, you want competition out of your players to grow and succeed, but if that competition becomes toxic, see, then no one's going to succeed, because now everyone is attacking each other. It becomes a parade, a campaign to just go after each other, and there's no success, there's no progress. So keep that in mind. There has to be a balance with progressive criticism, but with a dynamic moving forward, so that way your players develop over time as well. I don't know if that came off in the right way, but I'm trying to just urge to you, build a good environment for people to survive so that way they're not abused. And so if you are a student or a young kid growing up in a toxic environment, once you go into adulthood, please, please don't give up on yourself. Seek counseling, talk with a good friend, and you don't have to pass those traits to your family or people along the way. You can overcome the abuse. You can become a good person. You can be your own leader in your own right and be good, because I know you're a good person and you have the power to undo what was done. You have the power to undo what was done. So I hope this video finds you well for today, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Tuesday leading into the next day for Wednesday. But this is from me, Mike the MC, and I hope you all are strong, resilient, and always remember, build a helpful environment for the people you're raising. And as a teacher, be humble and let go of that ego so that way you can allow your students to grow. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good one.